So hi, my name is Cujo. Christmas time. I look like I should be in a freaking workshop making toys right now, dude. Look at me. So I think what I want to sit here and talk about is friendship today. Like, I think that's kind of the whole Christmas spirit, or the whole thing that makes Christmas for me, is my friends and my good friendships with people that I have in my life. But I have a book called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy here. And I actually have been carrying this around with me for the past couple weeks. And this is a book about friendship, I would say. Each of the individuals in this book kind of represent like a different caricature of like a person in a relationship, or a dynamic or perception of another, or of the self, if that makes sense. Like, to me, the boy represents like innocence. The mole represents kind of like a career-driven person, or the mole is very greedy for cake, and that's all he cares about is the cake. But then you figure out he does care about other things along the way. He just wants cake a lot. The fox, I think, represents someone who's been really damaged throughout life, but he ends up, I think, having the most love probably for the people inside of the book, the individuals, the animals, and the person inside of the book, because the fox is ensnared and then tells the mole that he'll kill him, but the mole ends up actually saving him, showing him compassion, and the fox, I think, grows to love them the most, even if the fox in the book doesn't express it. I think there's like a similarity to some people who've been really hurt by life with the fox. But the horse is super giant. The boy, the mole, and the fox, they all kind of have this energy where they look up to the horse, and he's super gentle giant. That's what he is. The horse represents really selfless rocks, almost kind of like a parent figure. But even you figure out that the horse is vulnerable in some ways. Like, he's able to fly in this book, and other horses apparently made fun of him, so he was insecure about it. But the three others tell him they love him if he can fly or if he can't fly. And then it turns out he chooses to fly with that information. A huge theme in this book is vulnerability. I think regardless of the context of the individual inside of the book, the animal inside of the book, they are all really vulnerable with each other, and it's a very strong thing. Ironically, like, being vulnerable is the most strongest thing you can do as anybody. So even the mole is extremely strong because of his vulnerability and his insights that he provides to the boy and the other animals inside of the book. But they all kind of like learn and grow and go alongside each other throughout the book. But yeah, I've been carrying this with me for like the past couple weeks, and I felt like this was the most Christmassy book that I could bring to the channel and talk about. Yeah, and I think friendship is really like one of the most human aspects of being a human. When you're being friends with people, a really good friendship comes from you wronging somebody, but you always end up righting the wrong, and then the recipient always forgives in the face of that, and vice versa. Like, you're gonna get hurt by your friends, but the capacity to forgive and move past those wrongdoings is what strengthens a friendship, is the ability to do that from both sides. Not just one-sided, but both sides. I wish I was friends with Santa. Ho ho ho. You know, I hold a lot of love for my true friends, because they've seen me at my worst, and at my worst, I wasn't doing this channel. I wasn't really doing anything productive, and I was just kind of consuming like video games, and like I was a very non-tolerant person. Like, my really good friends had even accepted me at that point in my life, and if I had continued to go downhill, which, you know, it's only my mind saying that, I was just the same there as I am here internally. It's just my thoughts and behaviors have just changed, but really at the core, I'm still the same person. But anyway, they still saw the core beingness in me and were just along for the journey with me. And I'm still friends with them. Like, I really do love my friends. You know, Ty, Caleb, Joe, Justin. Those are just off the top of my head. There's plenty more. There's Creed. I got Ryan, Nathan. Like, I got so many friends, guys. You don't understand. These guys are awesome. So many good friends. So many who I would consider true friends. but they've stuck with me and they've accepted me for who I am, even for like my weak sides and the sides that I struggle with. Anyway, I would hope for the person that's watching this to differentiate between people who are actually your friends and not your friends. Here's how I would do a very easy test of who that is. So if you just reflect on your life, most people who are truly your friends are the people who you go to complain about people who aren't your friends. Like maybe in both situations, you guys on the outside are friends, but in going to the person to complain about the other person, it's not always a good, healthy thing to do, obviously, but it's a good indicator of who you trust and who you don't trust, and who you can be vulnerable and human with. I found that I complained to my mom about so much stuff in my life, like all the time, so I figured out that, my mother is a good friend of mine, which I feel so blessed and thankful for that, and I wish everyone was able to experience that, because not everyone is able to. And if you do, that is amazing, and you should cherish that with every second that you're with your mother, or anybody who's like that. It's not just your mom, just anyone who shows you love and compassion like that, and will listen to the dumb shit that you have to say. But yeah, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a good Christmas weekend or Christmas week, whatever the break looks like for you. Merry Christmas. And the gift that I am so grateful for is all of you. To kind of close out this video, I wanted to read some poetry from one of my favorite writers. His name is David White, and the title of the poetry is Friendship. It is from a book called Consolations, the Solace, Nourishment, and Underlying Meaning of Everyday Words. And yeah, this is friendship. So, friendship is a mirror to presence and a testament to forgiveness. Friendship not only helps us see ourselves through another's eyes, but can be sustained over the years only with someone who has repeatedly forgiven us for our trespasses, as we must find it in ourselves to forgive them in turn. A friend knows our difficulties and shadows, and remains in sight, a companion to our vulnerabilities more than our triumphs. When we are under the strange illusion, we do not need them. An undercurrent of real friendship is a blessing exactly because its elemental form is rediscovered again and again through understanding and mercy. All friendships of any length are based on a continued mutual forgiveness. Without tolerance and mercy, all friendships die. In the course of the years, a close friendship will always reveal the shadow in the other as much as ourselves. To remain friends, we must know the other and their difficulties and even their sins, and encourage the best in them, not through critique, but through addressing the better part of them, the leading creative edge of their incarnation, thus subtly discouraging what makes them smaller, less generous, less of themselves. Through the eyes of a real friendship, an individual is larger than their everyday actions, and through the eyes of another we receive a greater sense of our own personhood, one we can aspire to, the one in whom they have the most faith. Friendship is a moving frontier of understanding, not only of the self and the other, but also of a possible and as yet unlived future. Friendship is the great hidden transmuter of all relationships. It can transform a troubled marriage, make honorable a professional rivalry, make sense of heartbreak and unrequited love, and become the newly discovered ground for a mature parent-child relationship. The dynamic of friendship is almost always underestimated as a constant force in human life. A diminishing circle of friends is the first terrible diagnostic of a life in deep trouble, of overwork, of too much emphasis on a professional identity, of forgetting who will be there when our armored personalities run into the inevitable natural disasters and vulnerabilities found even in the most average existence. Through the eyes of a friend, we especially learn to remain at least a little interesting to others. When we flatten our personalities and lose our curiosity in the life of the world or of another, friendship loses spirit and animation. Boredom is the second great killer of friendship. Through the natural surprises of a relationship held through the passage of years, we recognize the greater surprising circles of which we are a part and the faithfulness that leads to the wider sense of revelation, independent of human relationship. To learn to be friends with the earth and the sky, with the horizon and with the seasons, even with the disappearances of winter, and in that faithfulness take a difficult path of becoming a good friend to our own going. Friendship transcends disappearance. Friendship transcends disappearance. An enduring friendship goes on after death, the exchange only transmuted by absence, the relationship advancing and maturing in a silent, internal, conversational way, even after one half of the bond is passed on. But no matter the medicinal virtues of being a true friend or sustaining a long, close friendship with another, the ultimate touchstone of friendship is not improvement, neither of the other nor of the self. The ultimate touchstone is witness, the privilege of having been seen by someone, and the equal privilege of being granted the sight of the essence of another, to have walked with them and to have believed in them, and sometimes just to have accompanied them for however brief a span, on a journey impossible to accomplish alone. So with that, thank you for watching. I love you, and goodbye now.